What's up, YouTube? Bam, and welcome to another edition of Wolf King's Vids. Okay. Right-wing commentator Ben Shapiro made a critique on Janelle Monae's P.Y.N.K music video, and the critique is a little nonsensical and a lot hilarious. So, let's play the clip now. In an effort to save time, because he goes on a bit of a lengthy monologue about the video, despite it not being supposedly intelligible according to him. So we're going to critique his points bit by bit, and at the conclusion give a final statement to his video. Let's watch.
Cool. Janelle Monae is the feminist of the day. She is a feminist nouveau. She is bisexual, and she says that feminism is all about the female genitalia. Now, I have to acknowledge that it used to be. I love.
Actually, that's not true. Actually, Janelle Monae is a singer, songwriter, and an actress who describes herself as partly feminist and a free-ass motherfucker, in the sense that she is bisexual, she owns her sexuality, and she doesn't think there's anything wrong with the female form. That's actually all that it is about her image, really.
I love that we live in a society where the subtlety of "baby, it's cold outside," which is basically how a lot of wooing goes on, right? I mean, every woman and every man who's honest about this knows that when you are wooing a person of the opposite sex, particularly a man wooing a woman, very often it is the woman who is saying, I need to leave now, and the guy is saying, why don't you just stick around a little bit longer? That's not rapey. Okay, rapey is when you actually rape somebody. It is not rapey to say, why don't you stick around, and the girl is divided on whether she wants to go home or whether she wants to stay, and then she decides, you know what, I'm going to stay. Right? That's not rapey. That is her making a free-willed decision. But that's really bad. We got to ban "Baby, It's Cold Outside." But real feminism.
Okay, so what he's talking about is this oldie song from the 1970s, which it features like this woman and this guy. The woman wants to go, even though it's snowing, and the guy is sort of suggesting she stay. And some individuals from the Me Too movement see that this is grounds for sexual harassment. I'm really indifferent to that comparison, right? I really don't care about whether or not the song's played, but that's that. So let's get into this. He's complaining about why it should be banned and all that.
Real feminism is not a woman making a decision to stay with a man. Real feminism is talking about the actual biology of the vagina. That's real feminism. Real feminism is dressing up in costumes that mimic the labia. That's real feminism. So here's Janelle Monae in P.Y.N.K. I will describe this as best I can without going blue here, and I will tell you the lyrics to this really, I think, fulfilling and emboldening and empowering piece of art from Janelle Monae.
Get on with it. Fuck.
To explain how terrible this video is, oh my goodness. Okay, so this video is so insanely obscene. So basically, Janelle Monae, we can pause it. Janelle Monae is dressed in a pair of pants that look like labia. I mean, that's what it is designed to look like. So she's obviously describing the vagina and the clitoris at a certain point here. And the idea is that it is empowering to talk about your genitalia ad nauseum. The actual lyrics are "pink like the inside of your blank," and we're supposed to know that means genitalia, baby. "Pink behind all of the door is crazy. Pink like the tongue that goes down," obviously a reference to oral sex. Maybe "pink like the paradise found." Okay, this stuff is rated X, right? I mean, these are rated X lyrics. But this thing, by the way, earned a Grammy nomination on Friday for Best Music Video for this song, because true art is dressing up on a beach wearing weird pants that look like the female anatomy. And this is from her Dirty Computer album. Just wonderful stuff. Now, do women really feel empowered by talking about their vajayjays? Just a question. Like,
there is, as I said, there are a branch of feminists who do think that owning their sexuality is a empowering thing. To them, I mean, honestly, it's not Victorian England. This isn't Saudi Arabia. It's the 21st century. It's 2018. So I'm not surprised that more people like Janelle Monae is talking about their sexuality. I mean, sexuality is part of the human condition. So I'm not surprised that she's open about her sexuality. She's unashamed. She's loud and proud about that. She thinks that women are beautiful. She's attracted to them as much as she is to dudes, and that's a good thing. I mean, she's not demonizing men. These women in the videos aren't twerking or anything like that, or being called hoes. It's just art. That's all it is. It's all about that subjectivity. So I'm not surprised it got Grammy nominated.
I've always found it really off-putting when guys talk about their junk. I find it not empowering at all. It's not gentlemanly. It's not good. It's a piece of your anatomy. Do you spend all your day talking about your thumb? Like, it's something that is just...
I mean, honestly, when dudes talk about their junk, I mean, the closest thing I could think of are dick jokes. So, I mean, other than for humor, entertainment, I mean, I don't think that's really an immoral thing. I mean, people guys make dick jokes. I mean, what, she can't make a song about her vagina, about how she thinks vaginas are great?
Just there. So the fact that you're talking about it ad nauseum is really ridiculous, and the idea that women think, oh, well, you know what, it makes me more empowered when society accepts that I have a vagina. Right, but number one, I've learned that the vagina can be very male. That's what I have learned from the left. Is that just because you have a vagina...
I mean, I know that Shapiro is Jewish and he thinks that homosexuality is a sin, but I mean, honestly, I don't see how that matters in this secular country. I mean, also, even when you judge it by his own criteria, I'm pretty sure Shapiro has eaten shrimp or worn mixed fabrics at least once in his life, if not more. So, yeah.
And it doesn't make you a female, obviously. So I don't know why it's empowering to females to talk about the female anatomy. It's not female anatomy, it's just anatomy. And it's sometimes associated with the social construction that is femininity. That's what I've learned from folks on the left. So this shouldn't be empowering to women at all. In fact, it's cisgender to assume that this is empowering to women. It's empowering to all people, whether they identify as women or men. Many men have vaginas. I have been reliably informed by the scientific community. So there's that. Then, even if you assume, put aside that idiocy, and assume that there is in fact a correlation between the female anatomy and being female, I don't understand.
Okay, so right there he attempted to do some kind of ridiculous reductio where he brings in transgender people and tries to say that it's cisgender to talk about the vagina in this song because men have vaginas and that he's been informed. I mean, well, here's the thing. If he wasn't too busy trying to mock and make little quips, he would have actually understood that there's actually been neuroscientific research that shows that people who have these issues involving being transgender and having gender dysphoria and stuff like that, there's actually been brain scans done on them which shows that there are certain biological factors that sort of link them with the gender of their psychological determination or thought, right? So there is actually concrete science to show that being transgender is actually a thing. So it's kind of actually pretty nonsensical and stupid to try and bring that in as a comparison to show that Monae is being ridiculous in the video. So kind of a fail, Ben. Anyway.
Understand why that would be the thing that you choose to take pride in. It seems to me that females have been making the case for a while that they are more than their anatomy, that femininity involves more than just your genitalia, and that men, if they think of you as just your genitalia, that's a bad thing. That would be objectifying you, which I agree with. And if you want to treat a woman as a full-fledged human being, you probably should not be thinking quite so much about her genitalia and start thinking about the folds of her brain inside. Right? You should start thinking about the things she thinks and feels and the actions she takes in her life.
Okay, so if we apply that criteria to Monae's art, again, she views herself as an open just as an open motherfucker. Like she's attracted to men, women, pretty much anyone. She's a pansexual, right? She's attracted to people for their hearts, not their parts. She thinks sexuality is a spectrum, and other than that, and the feminist thing and the some of the Afrocentric tendencies, there's really, I mean, that's it. I mean, she doesn't really view herself as a political person by her own words. So that's sort of what she brings when it comes to her art, whether she's acting or singing or producing. Honestly, that's the stuff that she embodies in in her role in the entertainment industry. So, I mean, if you think that she's using that her art as an excuse to talk about vajayjays, I mean, that's sort of you sort of objectifying her in that way.
If I were to talk about all the wonderful things that make my wife, genitalia, like this is a component part, but this is not what makes my wife my wife. Like every woman on planet Earth has female anatomy. Okay, all of them. But what makes my wife, what makes her special and what makes her unique as a woman is not that. What makes her unique as a woman is the fact that she's a wonderful wife, the fact she's a wonderful mother, the fact that she is a doctor, the fact that she does all of these wonderful things every day. That's what makes her a unique person. That's why I respect my wife as a human. But you can't have it both ways. If you're on the feminist left and you want to reduce females to their genitalia, but then say also the genitalia don't mean that you are female, and also men should stop objectifying your genitalia, and also if you talk about female genitalia, then this makes you a sexist. None of these things can hold true at the same time. But if this is the new empowerment, we got to ban baby it's cold outside. But talking in graphic terms about the appearance of female genitalia, that's empowerment. Man, what a world you have created, you morons. Okay, we'll be.
Okay, so that's the end of his ridiculous commentary. Okay, so no, Monae is not reducing women to their genitalia. No, it is not cisgender to. I don't know that stupid thing he said involving transgender people, and also objectifying women being objectified by men. This is a case of a music video where no man is objectifying a woman. This is an example of a queer black woman who is speaking loud and proud about her sexuality. She doesn't think that there's anything wrong with that. I mean, this is America, right? It's supposed to be about like freedom and individuality. I mean, but except only, but when it doesn't fit someone's particular worldview, then they're just being horrible and degenerate and terrible and stuff like that. I mean, it's just nonsensical. I mean, Emily V. Driscoll, a scientist, said in the Scientific American Mind that many species exhibit signs of homosexual and bisexual behavior, and that it fosters bonding. The more homosexuality you see in a species, the more peaceful it's going to be. So I think talking about this is actually psychologically healthy, and it leads us to a more tolerant, more peaceful society. But in the eyes of Shapiro, this is just women being terrible, being reduced to their vaginas, and not having any sense of morals or common sense and things like that. And that's why Baby It's Cold Outside could be banned, and Monae could be seen as empowered by virtue of doing that. I think it's honestly it's ridiculous what he brought down in terms of that ridiculousness. If you start off with a false premise, you're obviously going to come out with a false conclusion, and that's what he did. He basically tried to reduce it down to people's genitalia. That's what he got from that, and that's how he got to this nonsense about Monae just focusing on the vagina and not focusing on what makes women specifically great. That's all that Monae is about, is just owning her sexuality, just being who she wants to be, and not letting society get her down. That's literally it. That's her whole thing, and that's honestly what embodies the whole thing about what makes America great, is that you get to come here, you could be yourself, and as long as it's between consenting adults, there is no problem. I mean, if you think that's bad and that's demeaning to women, honestly, then I just think you're way off base, frankly, because she's not complaining about men bringing women down. She's not complaining about being a victim and anything like that. She actually made it clear that that's not her image at all. So if anything, I think that Ben Shapiro is just stereotyping her, and instead of listening to the creativity and spirit that she has, he's just focusing on her just being some kind of glorified sex symbol, and that's and that's just asinine. So if anything, he comes out looking very ignorant as a result of this monologue, and actually very ignorant on the fact that that's just not what she's about as an LGBT symbol. But yeah, that's my assessment on this video. That's my 2 cents. Ben's an idiot. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He should stick to being a lawyer and stop with the social commentary. But that's all I got to say. This has been Wolf King. Peace out. If you like this video, you know what to do. Stop by there to know. And hail Satan. Ciao.